your experience, from treating dozens and dozens of children, what do you think is the main cause of gender dysphoria?
I believe there's a genuine group of children, a small cohort of children, who, for reasons that aren't clear, have a significant distress around the sex of their body. And then there are another group of children who more recently have become entangled in the ideas around gender and what that means and what they're supposed to be as a boy or a girl, in conjunction with overarching issues of mental health disorders, anxiety, depression, trauma, autism, and confusion around their sexual orientation. And they run with the idea that this means that they are meant to be the opposite sex and pursue that avenue. It's a big mix of children. There's no one particular answer. And because you've got one big mix of a whole range of different children, that means there's no one treatment pathway that is the right thing to do. And regardless of that, there's no children, I think, who would benefit from blocking their puberty as the answer to any of those issues. It's
not one of those kids.
No. I don't think any child or their parent can truly consent for what that treatment brings to that child as for them as an adult. It's an issue of consent.
Are you seeing children being influenced by transgender messages on social media?
I think social media and social contagion is definitely something that needs to be explored. The fact that there's been no academic interest in that potential is a problem. I do believe that children are influenced by ideas about what it means to be a boy or a girl or trans. We see advertisements that have pictures of people who've had their breasts removed and being presented as an ideal to pursue. And I don't think any child should have their breasts removed in order to satisfy their dislike of their body.
It's very difficult for parents, isn't it? Because they're torn between supporting their child, doing everything they can for that child, and on the other hand, worrying necessarily about the impacts of these puberty blockers and other medicines.
Yeah, it's a natural feeling. You want to support your child, but sometimes supporting your child is not necessarily giving them everything they demand. And it's important that these parents have the empowerment to say, I love you and I support you and I'm going to help you, but that doesn't mean you need to irreversibly change your body.
So those kids can be helped without going into puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones and ruining their body.
I think it's really important generally that the treatment for these children should be about body acceptance, keeping these children grounded in reality. Unfortunately, I find that a lot of these children are promised something that cannot be achieved. It is not possible to be the opposite sex. And these children are told that, yes, it is. You can be a girl if you're a boy. You can be a girl when you're older. You can be a woman. We can make that happen for you. But it just cannot happen.
It's not possible to be the opposite sex.
No human can change sex.
You know the transgender community will hate you for saying that.
I don't believe that's true, because I think a lot of trans people appreciate that fact also. But
that's not a popular view to express.
Reality doesn't depend on popularity. Humans can't change sex. There's nothing popular or about that at all. It's just a fact.
When the parents go to the gender clinics, what are the parents being told at those clinics to convince them that their child is better off as another gender?
I don't know how the consultations go. The feedback I've seen is that if a child expresses the view that they are of the opposite sex, they are told that we can help with that and help the child achieve that by blocking their puberty and then eventually progressing on to cross-sex hormones. I don't know how that consultation goes in any other way.
It's hard to conceive what the argument is.
It is. I don't understand how a child can go there for their first appointment with their declaration of who they think they are, and the clinicians there at the intake say, yes, that is who you are, and we will help with that, without any exploration of what that is meaning and what that child is expressing.
It's almost as if the children are the medical experts.
Yes, there's a lot of autonomy placed on the self-declaration of children, and they can be children as young as 5 to 10 years of age, declaring this is who I am and this is who I want to be for the rest of my life, and the doctors at the children's hospital saying, okay, that's good enough for us.
That's what amazes me. I mean, where does that leave the medical profession? I mean, it gets right back to the Hippocratic Oath, doesn't it? Do no harm.
I think it's not a unique situation in medicine. There have been scenarios like this throughout the history of medicine. The problem is when the issues of harm and the stories of harm come about and people still do nothing. That's when the true scandal is here.
Do you think we've reached that stage now?
Yes, I think we've been there for a few years. There's been clear stories of medical harm, people regretting their treatments, the true realities of what the treatment is causing for children, the lack of any discussion around sexual function and fertility, about what that does to children in the long term. These are all stories and information that has been freely available, but we still, in this country, fail to acknowledge that.
The time is now. I mean, the red flags have well and truly been up for the past few years. It's time to do something.
Absolutely. We've done nothing in this country to move the discussion forward.
You say you will never refer a child to one of these gender clinics. Why not?
Because it's clear to me that a referral to the gender clinic is a referral to commence medical treatment. It's not a referral to have an assessment, to consider what's really going on with the child, to fully explore why the child is expressing this view. It's a referral to start the treatment. I've asked the gender clinic in Brisbane, how many children do they see who they do not deem suitable candidates for medical treatments? And they will not tell that to me. So as a result, I cannot be confident that I can send a child there and they not receive medical treatment.
Again, doctor, very strong words, but do you believe that when children go through that process, they are surgically mutilated?
I believe they are chemically mutilated initially. Chemical castration is what puberty blockers are. It switches off the normal development of the gonads. That is chemical castration. I believe mutilation is a powerful word, but I cannot think of any better word to describe the removal of healthy breast tissue in girls as young as 15 in Australia.
For those people who are watching the program who have had kids who have been confused or are confused now or whatever, what's your advice to parents?
My advice to parents is to not be afraid to hold the view that this is something that instinctively is wrong and concerning, that the medical treatments are the only option. It's okay to be worried about that and to explore different options and not to be railroaded by anyone, either online in a support group or at a clinic, and not be told that this is the only thing you have to do. If you don't do this, you are not being supportive. That is not true. These parents should be aware that there are other ways to deal with this. There are other ways to let your child grow and mature. It's difficult, it's hard, you have a distressed child, but that doesn't mean it cannot be managed in the right way.